Discrete data are individual points that are not connected. If we have individual points, the first thing that you need to do, well, on any of them, is you need to label your points. And I know there's a lot of you that are not going to do that. And I'm not going to answer your questions unless you have them done. That's the way it's going to be. So if you come in for help or on domain and range and you don't have them labeled, I'm not going to help you. Okay? So once you have your points labeled, domain is always your x. So when we've got points, we're looking for our x values. We want to show on the left side of the graph. So right here, that should be a negative, by the way. It's kind of hard to see it. We show the left side, so we have negative 7, negative 5, sorry. Negative 5, 1, 2, 5, and 9. Okay? All of our x values. Range are your y values. You're going to do these from the bottom to the top. You're going to go from least to greatest. That's the way you normally will see answers written. What's your lowest y value? Negative 5. Then we have negative 2 twice. Positive 2, 5, and 7. Sometimes we have continuous data. Usually more often than not. Continuous means that obviously there's not gaps in there. First thing we want to do, label points. What's this point over here? Negative 8, 5. And what's this one? 6, negative 3. So negative 8, 5 and 6, negative 3. We want to think about this kind of like a box. You don't have to draw this every time, but if it's helpful to you, think about that. It goes from here to here and here to here. So it's only this area that's in the middle that's our domain and range. The way we can think about that is between, so if we have two endpoints with a line, we're looking for things that are between. So let's specify. Domain values begin where on the left? No, what's your value? Negative what? Negative 8. And they go over to where? 6. That makes it easy. You have your points there. They simply go from left to right. Put them in your brackets the same way. It's between 8 and 6. And we have to write our between part a certain way. X is between those two. So it means negative 8 is smaller. That's what this means. Negative 8 is less than x. But all the x's are less than 6. So we're going to read it from left to right. Starts here, less than x, which is less than 6. One thing we need to add. Because the endpoints are closed, means that they have a dot on either end, we have to put a line underneath it. Because the difference in less than or less than or equal to is whether it's a closed circle or open circle. It's a closed circle, it means it's right on the dot. If it was an open circle, it wouldn't include them, but we're going to see in a minute. Okay, so look at our range values. Lowest to top. What's your lowest y value?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. And it goes up to where? So, let's put them in our point. We have from negative 3 to 5, and we want between. The only difference is we're going to have y instead of x. If you will label your point, I promise it is going to help. Domain is x. What is x between? -6 over on the left to what on the right?
7.
7. So put it in our brackets. -6 to 7. X is between those. So we want our between. It's less than the right. It's greater than the left. Since these points are open, you'll notice these are open. I don't put a line underneath it because it's not equal to. It can be at 6.99999999, but it can't be at 7 because there's an open circle on either end. That way we have a less than, not less than or equal to. So y values. What's the lowest y value? -3. It goes up to 2. So we have from -3 to 2, and everything is in the middle. That's our between state. Okay, number 4. We want to label our points. Notice I said point because what's on the other end?
Arrow.
An arrow. So on this end, we have an arrow. So it's going to change it a little bit. The domain values, okay, start where over there? -8. And they continue to which direction? To the right. So if we're talking this way, are they getting bigger or smaller? To the right, they're getting bigger. So if they're going to the right, our values are getting bigger. So when we talk about our domain, are we going to have it between two numbers?
No.
We don't have one over here. So we're just going to say that all of our x's, are they bigger than -8 or are they smaller? On the way. Bigger. They're bigger than -8. Is there an open or closed dot on -8? Closed. So I have to have greater than or equal to. So that's what this means here. This means greater and or equal to. So it's greater than or equal to -8. Range value. What's my lowest y value? Y. -4. And it continues which way? Up or down? Up. Because it means if this is kind of like our limit here, it's all going up this way. Up. So, do we have a limit on the other end? No. All of our y values are greater than or equal to -4. And it says both have a bar because the endpoint is. Okay, so we have the point -4, 5, -5, 4. So x starts at -5, goes to the right. So all of these x's that are on this line, are they bigger than -5 or smaller? Bigger. Go to the right. They're bigger. So all of my x's are greater than -5. Do we want a line under the greater than? No, because that doesn't circle. All the y values on this point, this is the limit. Are they all less than 4 or greater than 4? They're less. Guys, y'all look. This is 4. They can only go down. So all of my y's have to be less than 4. If you have a question about whether you're right or not, put a number in. Okay, if you had turned it around the other way, stick in 2. 0. 0 less than 4? Yes, you did it the right way. Check it and see. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and fill in these so you can see. This is a vertical line. Okay, has an arrow on one end. This is the point -5, 0. So our domain value is -5 the whole time. And so we just want x equals -5. Because it doesn't matter what point that I pick, it's still going to be -5. Range values start at 0, and they continue infinitely up. And so all of our range values have to be greater than or equal to 0 because there's a closed circle on 0. So we have it with both ends. We have it with the arrow on one end. We're talking about this one. We have 2 arrows. Is there a limit? No limit for x or y. I mean, this little symbol here that means all real numbers. It's written like this. Make 2 marks, an R over it, plus capital R, symbol for all real numbers, instead of writing it out every single time. But the only time you will use that is if there's an arrow on both ends. Well, it's on your paper, but if you need to write it out so you know what it is, you can. What is my lowest y value? Is it -2? Are you sure? It's -1 because it goes below that point. What's your highest y value? It goes up. Okay? And so here, we've got to be careful if the line goes above
That would
it.
be -1?
Oh, sorry. Negative
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
There you go. -4. And so this one would have to go from -4 up to 7 because it goes around that point.
So the highest point or lowest point, everything.
Exactly. Highest point, lowest point. So on the last one that you had here, domain is all real numbers, so it's going to be anything. It continues left and right. But this one, you have a lowest point at -5, and it goes up. So y is greater than or equal to -5.
Okay.
Okay. And I know there's a step function on here. We're not going to talk much about those. Limit 1. We have the beta is less than or equal to x, which is less than 1. And so for range values, we have a -4, a 1, and a 6. So that would be for a step function.